Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of the RLG cast. I'm here with Putty from the Putty, and I'm here with the JD from the JD. Their description will be in the bio. Just check it out. Maybe follow them or don't, whatever. But subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. Are you subscribed?
Subscribe.
Okay.
We'll
So
wait.
That's the one thing you need
uh
to do.
I didn't tell them about anything that's happening today, so I'm just
Yep.
gonna start saying things and you're gonna say things back to me. Jenna Ortega has been rumored to be offered the role of Lydia's daughter in Beetlejuice 2.
Yes, I heard about that.
That's good. That's a good idea.
Well, it's good for the fact that now that we've seen her in Wednesday and we know how
She
would
can
look
portray
in
that
role,
goth. Yeah.
Macabre,
and
yeah.
then you look at a picture of Winona Ryder from that movie, it's kind of like the perfect casting.
Yeah.
Now, here's a thing. What if the daughter is the complete opposite and she's like Gina Davis instead?
No, I don't want that. Well, I don't want that, but I'll take it.
I don't know. I'm kind of on that side. I don't want that either, but yeah.
Okay,
Whatever.
so what's your thoughts, Putty? Tell me some thoughts.
Oh, well, I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, here's the thing. Um, uh, over the internet, it's freaking it's her, Jenna Ortega everywhere. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing that happened with her and what's her name? Aubrey Plaza on the award show alone just shows how what the caliber she is, and again, it works for her character. They're pairing her nicely, basically what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's like they know where to put her in the right spot, and she knows which ones roles to pick. It seems so because before this, when there was that whole joke out there about that old show she was on, and then she said she's like in the middle, she's Wednesday. I can't remember what it was, but it's like a whole meme out there, and I never knew she did that kind of roles because it feels like when she did Wednesday, that was her as a character no matter what, like outside of it. And when I saw outside, she seems like that as well. But that young version that I saw that's like on TikTok and all that, I mean, that it's like, what the heck? That doesn't seem like the same one we see now.
Well,
So,
she was like a Disney Channel / Nickelodeon kid.
well, that's what I found out. And
Yeah.
that's what I was saying because there was a show and then there's a whole thing like, oh, she like predicted she'd be Wednesday because there was an episode of one of the shows and she had said that she was like the middle child. So she was Wednesday. And they were like, and they made a big deal out of it. But that was the thing. I never seen her like that before. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who Jenna Ortega was until literally this show. You know what I mean? So, with that being
She's had a
said,
few minor roles in some things, like
Well, she
nothing
was in
too.
Scream 5,
Yeah.
which
well,
was a
oh
huge
yeah.
movie, and
Well,
she was
that's
in
a,
X.
and the funny thing is though, with those movies and everything, it was the movies that overshadowed her. Me knowing her as a character, does that make sense? Like she wasn't at that point where I was like noticing her by name. You know what I mean? So I didn't even know it was her because I will say she's good at separating herself and making herself. She's a good actress. That's basically what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? She pulls herself out of it where I didn't think about that until people told me later when this new Scream came out. Like, oh, she was in the other one. I go, oh, that's right, she was in the other one, and I didn't think of it that way because it seemed like such a different type of character than she does in stuff like Wednesday. Does that
Wasn't
make
she
sense?
also young Jane and Jane the Virgin?
Yeah, I think so.
That I have no, yeah,
That was a
but
pretty big role.
But that's my thing, though. I still didn't know that much about her. I feel like she's me finding this out later that she's now got all these other roles means that she's very diverse, if you know what I mean. And that's a good thing for an actress to have for her being so young, too.
Well, she's
So,
mostly only been in horror stuff.
well,
They're
I know
just
that.
trying to strike while the iron's hot, basically. You put her name right now on any billboard and it's a moneymaker.
But yeah, young adults, teenagers, like it's yeah.
Well, Scream made $44 million at the box office, so on opening weekend here. That's
pretty good.
for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Marvel numbers for a horror movie.
And
Anyways, yeah. Would you ever want to say something?
well, I did.
You have
I know
something?
you
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
up. Well, you also brought it up before because you've seen it already. So, like, your review was good on it, right?
On what?
The
Scream
movie has it not
6.
come?
You've seen it. You went
Yeah.
to go see it on
Yeah,
the
I
weekend.
watch it. I was gonna say that. Thanks for interrupting me. Let's talk about Scream. So I went to see Scream. Spoilers. Putty spoiled it. It was pretty good. I mean, for me, going to watch Scream at the movies is like a Putty getting to watch any movie that he goes to watch at the movies. Because every movie is Putty's favorite movie.
Yeah,
But
including Ant-Man.
including Ant-Man.
Oh,
But
I
I
had
mean,
never said that. Like, go look
You
at my
gave it a
review.
high rating, Putty. You gave it a high rating.
Dude, I gave it a okay rating. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I don't.
by my
It's true.
standards.
We're gonna rearrange Putty's scale. Remember how you had the 12-point scale? We're gonna
Yeah.
give Putty the 12-point scale because his like 8s are really 6s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to balance it out. But yeah, Scream was actually really good. It was one of the better movies in the franchise, and it was so fun. And like I highly recommend if you're able to drinking before or during watching it, because it was an absolute blast. But yeah, we'll have a review for that probably next week.
Okay.
But I digress. So there's more news on the table about the Marvels. So
Okay.
Yeah.
and
Brie Larson's a little upset.
so first of
Okay,
all,
I don't know about this. So this is news
first
to
of
me.
all, there was the initial wave of information was saying that it was because people who had seen the little pieces of the movie that were available to, I guess,
Test audiences.
test audiences, because they didn't finish the movie yet. So what they had available, and it got really negative feedback. So they want to push it back and finish the way things look and stuff like that, and adjust a few points. But now, yesterday, I saw a new news story that's been leaked from a lot of big sources saying that it's because of Brie Larson, and she's like impossible to work with, and she keeps storming off set, and she's refusing to work with the girl that plays Maria Rambeau.
Because
Oh,
Brie
wow.
Larson feels that this should be her film. That she should be the star, from what I understand. And she's co-sharing the title of the movie.
with two other people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because originally it was Captain Marvel too.
I don't want to say I understand that, because I mean, I get the sentiment of the reasoning, but I don't think that you should be that upset, because like you're still the big name of the movie, right?
Well, I mean, just either way, I had no idea this was all going on, but just hearing all this, the thing I think about it is this has been just like the other things where she's implanted herself to like say, hey, I deserve this, or this needs to happen, kind of thing. If she feels she deserves something, she puts herself forward to take it. And it's like the problem is she feels like she's obligated, and it's like
Entitled,
making
not
it,
obligated. Entitled.
they get entitled, yeah, entitled. And it's just it's such a condescending, like based on how she is in other media, it's such a condescending thing too. You know what I mean? Like I mean how she is, like she's part of the like Fortnite community and everything, and apparently she's not like that there. So like, where's this coming from? You're making enough money, you're doing everything, people know who you are. You don't have to try to take this much spotlight from something.
That's right. They base Paradigm off of her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because the thing is, a lot of people don't know is there's another skin, the bush skin, the bush that looks like a tree and everything like that. That's in Fortnite. That skin actually has a variant of her or crew, her group or clan that plays Fortnite. So it actually has like the thing. But I digress. That's my point. Over there, it seems like she's really cool and awesome, and you know what I mean. Like she's pretty like down to earth. But then you see her on this other side of Marvel, and it's like, why is this entitled? I'd say a bitch, thinking that she
swear.
can. I'm sorry, I've just got
Okay,
to
we're 5 minutes in. We're okay now.
Well, it's a B word, and that one I found out online on YouTube. It's actually not that bad.
Well,
But
because
anyway,
it means female dog.
yeah. But anyway, my point to the whole thing is this: it's so weird to see someone act like this. That it's like, again, you're not entitled. You're not Captain America. You are not Tony Stark. These are not characters. You're not one of those characters, and you just have to live with that. So.
Well, yeah, in the movie world, I agree. I mean, in the comic world, Iron Man's not very big until the movie.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now he's like the most important character in their comics, but I do agree with that. Captain Marvel was never a big character. Brie Larson is not even remotely the biggest name of the people working at Marvel, not even close. I mean, I'd argue Martin Freeman is a bigger name, and he's only in the movie for like small parts. But
that's funny.
It's weird because it's like I don't want to believe stuff like that, because I feel like it's always this constant internet heckling of her that it's like they're targeting her. Oops. And
she does seem to get a bad rap.
Yeah, and I feel like I genuinely feel like it's males on the internet targeting a female-led movie because it's not what they want. And but it keeps happening so often now that like how long can you ignore that this is like probably true?
I mean, in a few interviews, I know she has stuck her foot in her mouth a couple times by saying things maybe that weren't. I think wasn't there an interview
with Chris Hemsworth that was really bad, and then there was also one with
Jeremy Renner,
with Jeremy Renner and
Don Cheadle.
War Machine, Don Cheadle, yeah.
And Jeremy Renner does not like her, at all. He's actually spoke out saying he does not like her at all. And that's the thing. There's so many people that work good together. But as I said before, for her to have that exposure on the other end, like it feels like she's like bipolar in that situation. It's
well,
a really weird thing to say.
No, but this is the thing. It's because most of the other stuff that she works on and people works with are not massive projects that require her to be there for an extended amount of time. So maybe this situation, and this is like her big money ticket, like this is the big one, right? So all the eyes are on her, so she's being noticed, all the stuff that she's doing. Like when she's on a TV show for like a week, nobody cares that she's there, you know what I mean? So I mean, that is what it is. Apparently when she did SNL, she was really a lot of people found her really annoying too backstage, like the stuff that she wanted. But yeah, I digress.
I mean, I don't mind her. Like, I mean, the few things I've seen her in, like, I don't mind Brie Larson. I'll stick up for her. From what I've seen and from what I've heard of her, she seems all right. I think it's like you said, the Marvel fanboys may be blowing this out of proportion.
Well, see, here's the weird thing for me. This feels like another Olivia Munn situation. And the reason I say that is, I like her other.
Olivia Munn's a fake nerd, fake geek. She is fake.
But that's my thing. I get that. And see, the thing is, I'm always wondering if the same.
She was put on a show to shove hot dogs and sausages in her mouth
and bathe in whipped cream.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, I knew early on she was fake and everything, that she wasn't real, like she was in the show. She was just eye candy. But with Brie, Brie Larson, like I said, she's been on Community. I loved her role in there. The movie Room, like she's done so many things that make me think that she's a very versatile and awesome. Like she's very open minded to things. You know what I mean? Like,
but like for example, just to go off that, right? Community's a show. She was on it for very small amounts of scenes. She probably filmed all those scenes in like 3 days, and Room was an isolated movie that had 2 actors and probably a very small crew. So it's like there's not much for her to, as long as their goal was to please her because she was the star of the movie. That's fine, but in Marvel, she's not the star. Like, even in her movie, she had to work with Samuel L. Jackson for the whole movie, and he's like Samuel L. Jackson. So, I mean, that is what it is. Ben Mendelsohn was there too. He's great. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I've never really liked her. I've always thought she was overrated. And I enjoy this news, but at the same time, it's like I find it hard. Sorry, my freaking nose is itchy. I find it hard to believe.
My mouth is dry.
I find it hard to believe all the time. But like after so many stories, it's kind of like, okay, it eventually we have to accept this. Okay, I'm moving on from this because I don't care about this anymore. What if?
Well, how about this?
What if? Okay, go, Putty. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say that, I mean, are you guys, well, I was going to bring up Shazam, but I guess we're going to stay in the Marvel world.
So we'll get to Shazam then. Hold on. We'll get to Shazam.
Right. So are you guys...
hold on.
Hold on.
We'll get to Shazam.
Eventually.
Eventually. We might as well finish off Marvel while we have
Putty's got some torque.
Okay, good point.
What if gets delayed?
Because it's absolutely horrible, and why do we need
a really long time?
What if they just canceled it?
Yes, what if that would be great? The initial rumor was 2 things. One, they didn't complete it properly. Like there is a lot of animation that has not been done yet because the animation studios are so overwhelmed with all the Marvel stuff, which we already know about that. And Disney, Bob Iger said from Disney that he thinks they're going to start lowering down the amount of stuff they're releasing per year between Star Wars and Marvel because it's overwhelming the
studios.
They want to do more quality and less quantity. And
Well,
I think
that's
that's probably for the best,
But I
especially
mean,
since the writing has been horrible.
Since WandaVision, they've been balls deep into the TV series. Like they release more TV series per year than they do movies now.
But I want to give them the benefit of the thing. We still have to always remind ourselves there is that year that really, because I feel like what it is they really put things in overdrive because of COVID. Like they had to get things going, and so we had the time frames that were like scatterbrained and messed up, and then of course getting the acquisitions of Fox. It feels like that might have been even something they were still trying to shoehorn. So there was never really any kind of balance. Even before COVID, but COVID really broke the balance even worse. You get what I'm saying? Like the starting off seemed kind of edgy, but like they maybe knew where they were going. But then the shows really had to. They're like, oh, well, we could do the shows during COVID and just we could fix it sometime later. And now they're in that mode, and it's looking bad. You know what I mean? Like the repairs are not maybe working because people are taking notice. Like I feel like they feel too much on, ooh, we're Marvel, we could do anything and it won't be bad. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like that's what it feels like to me.
They become complacent.
Yeah,
yes.
I think
they're too confident in the product, and they're not putting enough effort into making sure that it's a good product.
And
exactly, that's just the way
I've seen the slow digression of Marvel quality. Like the last few movies have not been like, yeah, they performed well, but they haven't been.
But let's be honest,
tier. They don't have a plan.
In phase 1, 2, and 3. It was rare that you could point at a movie and be like, this movie sucked. Like, there's like 2 outliers, like Thor 2 and Iron Man 2 that everyone says are bad. I mean, I think Iron Man
3 is worse than 2.
I think Iron Man 3 is better, but I think Captain America is the worst one until Ant-Man. But, I mean, the majority of people say those 2. Anyways, now it's like every single movie at best is like a good enough watch. And like they're putting so much more effort into the shows, but even the shows the last 3 shows were nothing special. Like I enjoyed She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, but they weren't like anything going to be like, oh, you have to see this. And Moon Knight was terrible.
You know what's really funny about all this too? They have this other thing going on over here called Star Wars. If you know what I'm talking about, when it comes to their
talking about Star Wars,
yeah. Oh, I've seen all that reference. Anyway, a lot of the kiddies aren't going to know that. But anyway, my point the whole thing is this: they see how that's working out. You know what I mean? Bringing out things slowly, letting things simmer and work. And like I feel the new season of Mandalorian has been pretty good. So. Why are they not following their own rules over there in Star Wars land over here in Marvel land? Like, what doesn't
Filoni and Jon Favreau have more control over that?
I mean, I guess so, but they should at least learn from them. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, you literally have.
I mean, if you want to, you can go look up what Bob Iger said about Star Wars. And it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, because the Rogue Squadron film is being canceled.
He canceled all the movies because he thinks that Star Wars specifically, they have to focus on quality because they no longer have the main characters from the original Star Wars movies to carry this universe anymore. Yeah. So they have to be very careful about like how they approach what they're doing.
They have to do either way in the past or way in the future.
Yeah, so they gotta. That's just what that is. But Marvel's just oversaturated. That's a big issue.
Yeah.
I don't have fatigue, a superhero movie fatigue. I have Marvel fatigue, I think, and I don't care. I'm gonna watch every single one. But it's just I think they need to focus on it. And everyone talk crap about DC and all the pushbacks they had. Look how many pushbacks you've got from Marvel in the last year, and. And their specific treatment of stunt people and animators and special effects people is like been all over the internet now of like how they're mistreating everybody.
Well, I said this in I can't remember which one it was, but I said this too. The fact that each movie now is just to set up the next movie. It's not a stand-up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And I think that's what's causing an issue too. Like everything is supposed to set up the next thing, but there's no clear direction right now. Like, we have
It's-
no idea what they're planning for Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, especially now that there's no X-Men, no Fantastic Four.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that too. It feels like each one is a really big Disney Plus episode of some big Kang Dynasty series that we just don't know what's going on. So we're having to wait year by year or month by month to get to that episode. And they're not that, yeah, maybe if I watch them all together, maybe like, okay, this actually has some sense to it. It's enjoyable. Or, add some of the shows like Loki with this, but it still doesn't even feel like that would even work. It's there's something seems messy. It's just, there's something it feels like Kevin Feige's kind of like days, like he has one goal, but he doesn't really, he's having trouble connecting it, or he thinks, oh, I could just use the multiverse again as a way to change that. You know what I mean? So it's
Make
like,
the t-shirt.
it's a weird thing that's happening in that universe.
The only multiverse I care about right now is Impact versus New Japan.
Well, there you go. But that's the real world multiverse. But as far as the fantasy world that we have in these camps, it's I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, again, I like to have the shift where the DC kind of rises now, Marvel kind of has a little bit dead.
I don't think
dead
either
weight.
one of them has to be better than the other. They just both need to make good movies.
I feel like the competition between them both is also kind of enjoyable too. So when I'm doing like watching one movie over here and going, Marvel, you can learn what DC's doing here. You know what I mean?
We've already said this before, and just for anyone who didn't hear it, there's one factor here. If The Flash is as good as people are saying it's going to be a whole new landscape for superhero movies, because DC has been making okay movies for a while, minus Wonder Woman, and like that was a really good one, but Marvel has been at the top, and right now Marvel is making just okay movies for a while. And if DC can come in and swoop in, DC has huge IPs. Okay, The Flash is not really one of them. So if The Flash does well, critically and at the box office, I think this is a whole thing. If The Flash tanks, I genuinely think they're gonna pull Blue Beetle from theaters, and it's gonna go right to streaming.
Yeah, I think that's why we haven't heard anything from Gunn yet. He announced a few things, but we haven't heard much in terms of casting, other than like the big names and IPs. I think he's waiting to see how the Flash performs to see where they can go from there.
Well, he also confirmed that he will be writing and directing Superman Legacy.
Yes.
So that is what it is. We're talking about DC now, Putty. So go ahead and talk about your thing you wanted to say.
Well, no, I was just going to say, again, we're still leading into a situation that's also kind of broken over there, where I'll be honest, but this, because Shazam, it's one of those things where it was hit or miss with the where they collided, and I'm not as familiar with the characters that are going into this movie, but it looks like it's enjoyable, and so I don't think it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to be too afraid of, like not being blind like the Eternals, like that, not understanding or not, not liking the core story that's involved. Like, it looks like it's interesting without having to have anything possibly affect the world. I don't know what their impact is. That's what I'm trying to say. But it looks like it's a fun ride, but it's also now like, where are we going? Because you guys said it best, and that this leads into that I was going to lead into that what you guys just said. Where are we going with all these stories? Because we still have them shooting that Joker movie with Lady Gaga. So it's like, this world is going to be so fragmented. Are they just going to,
they're having their own issues there as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Right now, Shazam, the new Shazam trailer dropped spoilers for the movie that the director was mad about, because he's not in charge of cutting the trailers, and they dropped full on end credit like spoilers for the movie.
Which I'm guessing the dragon was part of that too. Spoiler alert. So
I won't say it to ruin it for people, but apparently Aquaman's test screenings were horrible, and people are saying it's the worst DC movie they've ever made.
Worse than Wonder Woman 84?
Worse than Wonder Woman 84. What the hell's Wonder Woman 84?
The second Wonder Woman film.
Oh, the one that doesn't have the one without it has that random lady that plays Wonder Woman, right? It's not Linda Carter.
Wonder Woman
Wonder Woman
84.
84. Okay, there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Why can't
you know there's a Wonder Woman movie from before, like around the
Yes,
time
I
of the
know.
show
I
that
know.
doesn't
What I'm
have
talking
Agent
about is
Carter.
Wonder Woman 84
yeah,
with
it was
Gal
actually
Gadot,
called
Pedro
one.
Pascal. Life is good, but it can be better.
Well, there's already a
hilarious.
worse one than that. Suicide Squad.
I was Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but worse than like it's like Catwoman bad apparently.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's who.
So
that's
that's why it's getting. They're trying to do reshoots,
Which is sad because the first one was not bad.
The first one is one of their better movies, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Wonder Woman and then Aquaman are probably the top two.
Yeah.
Well,
Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam.
Of the more modern ones.
Of the DCEU.
The Snyderverse, if you want to call it that.
I will not call it that. I will not call it that. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, what do you think about James Gunn doing Superman? Do you think that he's going to screw it up?
I don't know. I think. I hope he just doesn't do too comedic.
He has to find a balance somewhere between Snyder and like Shazam. It has to be like somewhere in the middle.
I'm hoping he understands, because I mean, I hope he's not going into this with only one frame of mind, if you know what I mean. Like, not understanding, like, okay, I'm just gonna do comic books. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna look at one comic book series and that storyline. You know what I mean? Because he really needs to find a balance with some of the way some of the old cartoons, the anime series, and all that, how they did that version. And some of the the 70s versions.
I think they need to pull away from the comics. Like, that's what made Batman 89 so good, was the fact that it didn't follow any comic storyline. It was its own story, self-contained.
Yeah, right. And it had no origin story. It had you know what? It's funny. I watched. It was on HBO Max, so I was just like, you know what? I'll put it on before I fall asleep. And the opening of the movie, like, teases you the story of, like, his story. A family and a boy get lost in a laneway, and some people are trying to rob them, and then Batman comes. But it's like, Batman comes after. But it's funny because it's like it mirrors the origin story, and then it's like, no. We're
but even the first Superman film with Christopher Reeve, it was still an origin story, but it was really well told
because they put a lot of effort into the actual origining of the story. Like, it goes through a bit.
Yeah.
Which I think if you're gonna do Superman now, I've been saying this, to do this movie, the tone that I want is Superman Returns. Like, that's how I want it to be. I want it to be a little bit campy, and like true to Superman, but like modern still, like a modern superhero.
Yeah.
And
just Superman needs to be just a little naive, too trusting, like that kind of.
Get me Cal Penn and John Cho, and they could be Harold and Kumar in the Superman universe. Okay, so I mean, does anyone have anything you want?
Well, speaking of DC, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League got delayed again.
I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Because you know why? The reviews on the people that got to play the early cut say it is
it's DC's version of Avengers.
Yeah,
the live service.
It's probably worse.
Like, the gameplay footage from that state of play. Normally we'll cover this on my channel, but since we're here and talking about this now, we might as well, because like, it was bad. Like, even that gameplay footage, it was nothing impressive.
They released a package. I don't know if you saw it. That's all of the released like video clips like, stretched out together to make like a 10-minute like show.
Sizzle reel,
yeah, like of all just that. And it's so awful. Like, it's so awful. It's you know what it reminds me of? It's like all the cutscenes from the Mortal Kombat game. What's it called? The DC game.
DC versus Mortal Kombat?
No, the actual DC game that came. That's made
Injustice.
Injustice, which I hate those games. I don't know how anybody likes them. I'm sorry if you do, but it's like that.
But still,
it's like that story. It's like so. Like, it just comes off so cheesy.
Yeah, but I mean, even watching that footage, like, the enemies are just bullet sponges. Random enemy 2, And like when they're fighting the tank, it's like, oh, hit that big purple spot. Oh, there's a helicopter. Hit that big purple spot. Like, and you know, just unload like clip after clip after clip. And it's like they're already being like hounded about microtransactions and skins and pay to win. And like,
yeah, there's a lot because Avengers. Okay, so Avengers wasn't very good. Guardians was good, you guys are saying, but
yeah,
it
Guardians was
didn't.
fantastic.
It kind of got overlooked.
Yeah,
and then you had Midnight Suns, which nobody even remembers that came out, even though it just came out.
Yeah, actually, I liked it. Like, Midnight Suns is fun. So
then you had Gotham Knights, which nobody liked.
People forgot about already.
And now you have this game that's already in tank mode. It's getting like pretty scary for superhero video games.
Let's hope Spider-Man 2 doesn't shit the bed.
If it does, I think you're going to see a long period of time before another superhero video game.
Well, if anything, well, here's my thing. We might see other ones, but I don't think we'll see quality because I feel like when it comes to who's making the next Spider-Man?
Insomniac.
Insomniac. Thank you. I knew it was PlayStation. When it comes to Insomniac, they are very good about sitting and taking their time. They've been consistent about that, and you know they've got this and the Wolverine game that they're both working on, which I feel are both going to be fantastic games.
Yeah, but Wolverine now it's like that we don't even have any idea if they've even started production. Yeah, we're looking 26 now. They're saying,
yeah, it's unfortunate, but I would rather it be pushed back and be good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's my point. That's why they're pushing it back, is because they want this thing to be good, because they probably see the same thing, and that's the problem. No one else looks at these times. They're like, it's always like when one game does good, they go on this whole thing, and then they go on this deadpan moment, and then they see one good game, so then they do it again. It's like they're not understanding that they're not putting that time in the other companies are doing.
It's copy and paste.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's frustrating.
Well, I think the best bet here for anyone is that they release a Batman game. They need to go back to the roots. But like start over maybe, because the Arkham games, the issue I have with them is they use too many villains per game. So each game there was like 20 villains. So it's like by the next one you're like, oh, I'm just fighting all the same villains again, but only one new guy's in charge. You know, because what was it? It was Joker. And then it was Black Mask.
Mm-hmm.
That was an art. No, that was Origins. It was Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, and then it was Black Mask.
Yeah, and then it was Scarecrow again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Scarecrow had a bit of a.
But the thing is, all of the villains make appearances, right?
Poison Ivy all over again.
You fight Poison Ivy. You fight like Catwoman.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it's just like the same, like circle of events.
Yeah, they didn't. Was it? It wasn't until the second one where they brought in Penguin and. They brought in Penguin, Freeze, and Two-Face in Arkham City.
But the thing I think you need to do is, the reason I'm saying start over is because start over and make it so there's less villains per game.
Don't lead off with the Joker.
Yeah, and because that way you stretch it out, right? Like we kill the Joker in the first game. Mind you, he's not dead, but.
And see, this is another thing. This is a prime opportunity for them to do something great, because those Arkham games are great, and when they kept on expanding, you could use that as an advantage point to even extend into other universes, so you can introduce these other DC.
Well, originally this Justice League game started off as just a Superman game. It was supposed to be Superman.
Really?
Yeah.
And then it expanded, and it's like, and then they saw what I guess Avengers was doing, and they're like, "Well, Suicide Squad is hot right now. Let's see if we can do something with that." And
they're basically just doing Justice League Doom right now.
Yeah.
But instead of Batman, it's the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. But I mean,
I don't know. I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything
here?
else?
Do you mind if we stick with the gaming?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was just announced that NVIDIA and Nintendo are putting their support behind Microsoft.
Oh yeah, with the COD's gonna be coming over to the Switch and everything too. Yeah,
because COD's coming over, and PlayStation now is all upset, and they filed that injunction to prevent Microsoft from purchasing Activision Blizzard. This is going on 2 years now, but now Microsoft has requested all of PlayStation's I guess, files or whatever about their exclusivity rights and how they keep stuff off other platforms and how they're trying to prove that now that's detrimenting the gaming community as well.
Yes, and that which goes hand in hand with the fact that Xbox is already agreed that they will release all the games from the multi-platform companies on all the platforms.
Yeah. Whereas like there's a shady deal with Square and PlayStation where they only release certain games on Xbox. Like Final Fantasy 16 is not coming to the Xbox platforms.
No, they already have that. They had that deal with Grand Theft Auto, where they came out. It was like a whole year before it came out on Xbox.
No, they were together.
No, wasn't it?
Oh, the original Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah, even more recently now, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, and there's an exclusive PlayStation only mission. Right, and it's going to be released next year for all the other platforms. So it's like you have exclusivity rights, and I understand that, and you have your own studios, but Capcom, other games like other companies, Square, like a lot of the Japanese companies are withholding their games off the Microsoft platform. And that's what Microsoft is trying to argue is like, we stated clearly that we're going to allow all multi-platform games to be released on multi-platforms. But, you know, they even told PlayStation they can have COD for another, like, they offered them a contract for, 10 years? Because the majority of the player base of COD is on PlayStation.
Here's my thing. I don't know. This feels like it's getting a little bit scary because Sony relied on being ahead of everyone by owning the exclusive rights to games or making games that were exclusive. And then it was kind of like the whole thing where, you know, at one point Sony took down Mario and Mario not really took down Mario, but made Mario go, hey, you're the kids platform, we're the adults. But then when, of course, Microsoft came in and said, oh, we can have another adult in the field. And that's kind of what's made this whole situation is where Sony's had a great head start outside of PlayStation 3. They've been dominating the field, and that's what's scary. If Microsoft opens this up and says, "Hey, we're allowing this everything," it's going to give Microsoft an edge, though, because it's going to allow them to say, "Hey, we're giving you everything, but if you want something special, you can come over here." You know what I mean? Like they would still get the games, but
they said, like, you know how PlayStation, even with like Call of Duty, like some maps and stuff like that, were locked for PlayStation exclusivity for a year.
True, yeah.
Right.
Oh,
whereas
I see.
Microsoft is saying there's nothing going to be exclusive to any platform.
This is the
release
thing.
This is the release.
The point you're arguing is the same thing PlayStation did in the 90s. They came, they bought everything, they shut down everything from Nintendo, they stole the Final Fantasy franchise from them, they stole all those JRPGs, they turned them into a more adult. They
stole Capcom,
games, and all of your fan base from Nintendo, which is funny now because people say Nintendo is for kids. Adults are the ones buying all the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, true, yeah.
But
hell, I'm playing Octopath 2 and it's fantastic.
There you go. All of those kids that grew up in the late 80s and early 90s were getting older now, so they took all of those fans away from those consoles and brought them to PlayStation. So if you look at it from that perspective, they did the same thing, right? And the difference is where Nintendo and PlayStation are unwilling to work with anybody at all. Xbox is like at least being like, okay, I'll share my stuff.
Yeah. Like, yes, you know, you can come to Game Pass, play it for free, but if you want a PlayStation 5, go ahead, buy the game.
And it's like another thing too is,
and that's what PlayStation's worried about.
Yes,
I find that Xbox or Microsoft, and however you want to look at it, because they're like two different divisions, really. They have been losing the last two console generations, even though the product was probably superior, but from a specs angle. But they've been making their money back by doing other things. Like the reason they still exist is because they're like, oh, we can do this. It's like Nintendo's sales are crazy, but Nintendo owns IPs that are generational that will never go away. They're forever.
You just mentioned Zelda, Metroid, or Mario, and you've already made $1 billion.
Yeah, and then you have even more. You still have stuff like Donkey Kong, right?
Kirby.
You can those things are gonna never go away.
Yeah.
And now that they've become more multi-platform in the sense that they're willing to have games like COD and the sports games on the Switch, because I know on the Wii U they didn't support a lot of that stuff.
No, it was all
the hardware
more
couldn't
exclusive.
support it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this Switch, it just proves like, yes, it's not going to run the same as you're running it on an Xbox, but The Witcher was really good on the Switch, which was surprising.
Well,
Doom,
and we already know there's a new console coming. It's been
it's been I've played Doom on the Switch, like the 2016 Doom. I played like BioShock Infinite. I played like Borderlands. Like these games can run on there.
Yeah, and
provided they're not
handheld, the screen is small, so you're gonna get good quality out of it, right?
Yeah, when you play it on dock mode, yeah, you notice. Like for example, The Witcher, I'll notice because I'm running it at 720.
Yeah, and you can see it on a big screen. That's why it's like watching stuff on your phone. You don't really notice the difference between 1080p and 720 necessarily because the screens are so small that the frames are so compressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean. I hear your points.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just cause for debate kind of thing.
I think it's fair. I think PlayStation has a reason to be scared, but I think if they were more willing to work with Microsoft and not against them, they could flourish and like grow together.
Well, I mean, look what it's done for the MLB game. MLB The Show is a Game Pass day one release. Even though that's a PlayStation Studios game, it would be akin to releasing God of War on the Xbox or like a PlayStation IP. You know what I mean? Like,
it's crazy that PlayStation has exclusive rights to an entire sport. Like
baseball is there.
Well, I mean, Madden has exclusivity on freaking.
Nope, not anymore.
Football.
Madden does not. EA does not have the NFL rights anymore.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Starting in 23 will be the last Madden game.
Ooh.
Which I'm sure they're going to let them make Madden, but I think there's no longer going to their sports.
Other studios can make football, sports, NFL licensed games.
Are not going to withhold it because why? We can make more money by constantly. It's like, how Marvel sold all their movie rights and then realized, well, we could just hold on to the rights and let people make movies. And we'll still own the rights to those movies.
Yeah, and I think same thing with FIFA. I think next year EA loses the rights to FIFA.
Yeah, I am pretty sure the only one they have locked in is NHL.
The Premier. Yeah,
but there's already other soccer games. There's
PES.
Yeah, and PES is actually a really good game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But EA is losing the FIFA rights.
There used to be multi-games, right? There are multiple games because there used to be MLB Triple Play, and
2K?
There was 2K, and then there was NHL, and then there was ESPN hockey, and then there was 2K hockey. So there was 3 hockey games, and there was ESPN football as well.
And 2K football.
I wouldn't mind.
NBA. Well, now NBA was big on.
Oh, you had NFL Blitz too. We forgot about NFL Blitz. You had NBA Showtime.
I was about to say there's also the very arcadey ones like Blitz, Streets. These games these were great games that none of these kids are getting experience.
But
because
Streets was made by EA.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I get it.
THQ was making
2K
Blitz. No, they were making Blitz.
2K was 2. Yeah.
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
THQ is 2K. It's all under that umbrella company now. It's all. But because I think the new WWE game should be out soon, 2K23.
Which, by the way, I've also been paying attention to some of the clips of WWE, and that's another story. I did not know it was going deep into some roots of the character. So I don't know if that's something you guys been discussing when it comes to leading into WrestleMania or anything like that. So,
but tune in for the State of Wrestling video.
But yeah, I heard that the 2K the 2023, apparently a lot of people are really liking it though.
Yeah, it's the best one in a long time. They've improved a lot with 22, and those improvements now are carrying forward to 23. Because 20 was just a shit show.
Yeah, they didn't even make a game in 21, right?
No. Yeah, 2K20, because of the fact, too, that it was developed for consoles and then ported to PC, the PC port ran horribly.
I mean, to be honest with you, most console ports to PC don't
Are
work
bad.
out well.
Yeah.
That's why it sucks if you're just exclusively a PC person. In my opinion, like I know people do it. I know you do it. I would never play a game that I can get on a console on a PC. In like Diablo, stuff like that, games that we know are PC based games that they also make on consoles, I'm gonna get it on a PC. But like games
even with Midnight Suns, which is an RTS, Midnight Suns, and I play it on PC.
Yeah, but I feel like that works on a PC. Like any RTS really works. Even FPSs work, right? But like I don't want to play
Hogwarts on my
Xbox.
Xbox.
A PC. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play Hogwarts on a PC. I mean, mind you, nowadays you can.
Yeah.
Like you can get controllers and all that. My Xbox controller just Bluetooth to my computer anyways. So.
Yeah, that's mine. I have two elites. I have the black one and the white one now.
There you go. You see that? Putty, do you have anything else you would like to talk about?
Not that I'm aware of at the moment. And nothing outside of the strange and macabre shows I like to watch online. So
today by the way, I watched the episode of Scooby-Doo today that has Weird Al, and it was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, go look for it.
I have not seen them.
Guess who's Scooby-Doo? It's episode 10, I think. It's called The Weird Allosaurus.
It's on HBO Max, right?
I don't know. I watch it on the internet.
Okay.
Shout out to internet and free stuff.
I watched WWE meets the Jetsons, Robo WrestleMania.
Yeah, there's also a Flintstones one.
Yeah, because I was at my parents' house and my niece and nephew were there.
There's 2 Scooby-Doo ones.
Actually, I like that Scooby-Doo one. It was pretty good.
Which one? The WrestleMania one or the one with the cars?
No, the WrestleMania one.
Yeah, the WrestleMania one's
I've never seen the Cars one.
No, the
drive
cars
like monster trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that
and
one.
the Flintstones one is pretty good too.
Yeah, they're all fine. There's too much John Cena.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it. We're stop watching, talk watching. And like and subscribe or whatever. And I like you too. And peace out.